Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of House of Ways and Means. So today we're going to talk about a topic that is a little bit funny, kind of personal to us because it's kind of the way our relationship started. But we want to talk specifically about something that has developed a few nice cozy nicknames in the recent past, but have been around forever. What are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about situationships.
All right, situationships. So what are the other names you know?
Buddy, friends with benefits.
So I remember the first time I ever became acquainted with this whole situationship thing was I was actually in high school. I remember one time my dad sat me down and he asked me if I'd ever heard of an understanding. And, it was a conversation that went from there, but I was like, I already had a concept of it. But when he said it, I was like, understanding. Okay, understanding. So I went with that term for a while. The conversation was a cool conversation until my dad started talking about petting. When he said petting, I was like, Dad, I think we need to wrap this thing up. But otherwise, love you, Dad. And otherwise, that's kind of where my first understanding of it came from. So how do these situationships begin that you've seen or that you've experienced?
So it just starts off with maybe flirting or just recognize interest in someone else and, recognizing that they're interested in you as well. Some, physical attraction obviously is there. And then, you just, from there, you just kind of determine this person could be on my team, I could create a roster or whatever.
So how do you get the other person to really understand though that you're not looking for anything serious? Like all we're ever fed is relationship. You grow up, you have a relationship and it's serious and you get married. Like how do you move from kind of that worldview to this position where you're just like, I want to have you around, but not necessarily like that.
I guess for me and the way that I was brought up it was a bit different. I wasn't led to believe that every relationship meant that it needed to be something serious, number one, and that it would lead to marriage. So for me, my experience was different. I get what you're saying in that's like a typical worldview or kind of like the progress of how people view relationships. And I guess another thing for me, which might be a little bit different again, is that I value honesty. I value people just giving it to me straight up. And so I do the same for them. When I was not interested in having a relationship and I was, focused on work and school and I just didn't have the time to commit to, really getting to know someone for the long haul. I just said to them, hey, I'm dating several people or, I'm not looking for something serious. I mean, exactly what you said. And if the person is down for the cause, then they'll be down for the cause. If they're not down for the cause, then they won't be down for the cause. But then you hear some people who will be, they will pretend to be down for the cause, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But what about you?
Well, it sounds like you are a different breed of woman than people are, the guys are typically used to. I think a lot of guys, especially a young means, I wasn't trying to commit. I wasn't trying to settle down. I was just trying to go have a little fun. But we have this thing where it's like, well, you can't, all guys have heard this where you can't tell a woman the truth. You can't tell a woman the truth because they say they want the truth, but they don't really want the truth. So it becomes this whole passive aggressive thing where it's like you got to hint at it. You got to send a bunch of texts with smiley faces and
well, no one is saying that you have to be like, listen, I just want to mess with you and that's it.
Well, yeah, but
you don't say that. You just say, hey, I'm I'm not looking for anything serious or, I'm dating other people just so that they know that you're trying to keep it casual.
Well, even nobody's going to come out and be like, well, no guy is going to go to a girl and be like, hey, I'm dating several people. Would you like a slot on the roster?
No one's gonna. That's what I'm saying. You don't add do you want a slot on the roster?
Okay, but you said several people. Nobody.
You just say you're dating other people.
I'm dating several people right now. I'm in several relationships at the moment.
I don't know if I said several. I'm pretty sure I said other. But you just say you're dating other people. They don't need to know how many. It's none of their business.
All right, so you've gotten around the weirdness up front, and you guys are in a situation where you're like, hey, you're hanging out, you're having fun, and it's going the way you think you want the situation to go, and you feel like all can last forever. So how do you keep that whole? Well, it can't last forever.
I was gonna say
these relationships don't last forever, but how do you keep it going as long as possible? Like, what's the best way to conduct a situationship to where you can get the most out of it?
So in order to maintain your situationship without it turning into something serious is, I guess for me, was supplementing my time with other things. So not necessarily other people all the time, because there may not be somebody that, other people I might want to have a situationship with. But definitely keep myself busy with work or social events, activities, things like that. Making sure I busy myself, making sure I'm not always available when, the person wants to kick it or whatever. But if I want the situationship to become something different, then I feel like I am pretty good at communicating that. Or if I feel like I want the situationship to end, then I'm pretty good at communicating that. But for the most part, to make the situationship last, I would add other things to my schedule, so it's not that one thing that I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't let yourself get too lost in the person if you want to stay in a situationship. You gotta focus on yourself, keep doing what you're doing, handle your own business. You probably got hobbies that you're into. You probably got work you gotta get done. Just keep running your life. And that's for people who probably don't want to spread themselves around too much. They don't want to be out in the streets all the time. Because for me, what was best to just keep other situationships all going at the same time. It's like a basketball you keep spinning on your finger. You get the whole thing going around and around. You just got to keep adding a steady flow of new blood to the roster. So you get all the positions on the basketball team filled, possibly even a 6-man of the year. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself a 6-man of the year. Make sure that they can sub in at any time for any of the starting positions. But let's also be clear. Living your life.
Not because you have a situationship means that you necessarily need to have situationships simultaneously.
I didn't say that. I said that's what worked for me. I'm saying, if you got other business to handle.
Okay, you said your piece. I was just saying I wanted to make sure that it was clear that you didn't necessarily need to have a roster in order to have a successful situationship.
Okay, so, you think you're going along having a good time, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. How do you know when you're officially, how do you know when the situationship is running into trouble?
When the person starts, having expectations of the relationship and of you.
Expectations.
Like when the person's just like, so I called you last night, you didn't answer the phone. Okay. Like, I don't owe you nothing. What you want me to tell you? Like,
The worst is when the person is setting themselves up to get their feelings hurt, because that they're like asking these questions they don't really want to know the answer to.
What were you doing last night when I called you?
And then they start trying to get you to admit to something that you are not obligated to admit to. They'd be like, "Oh, what you doing tonight? Oh, I'm busy." Oh, you're probably gonna be somewhere doing
XYZ doing.
You're like, well, maybe I will.
Okay, stuff like that. Or sometimes the other thing too is that, I guess for me and with my experience, like I've been in situationships where the person's like, oh, so why you can't come over tonight? Because I got work. Like, oh, you got work to do at 8 o'clock? Yes. Like, I'm in school full time. Like, I work full time. I have to fit these things in. I'm not gonna be kicking it with you, all the time. Like, for me, my situationships worked because, where we lived before, there was a lot of traffic. So I would have my conversations, like, as I'm commuting to and fro. That's when I would have my conversations. If you don't catch me when I'm in the car driving, whether I'm going to see a client, coming back from seeing a client, running to the office, or running to class or something, if you don't catch me on the phone during those times, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not making a special call, to you to talk to you about something unless there's something that I need, or want or whatever, and the time fits. But don't be salty if you call me or you send me a text and I don't see my text because not because I'm intentionally ignoring you or anything like that, but because I'm like legitimately busy, and if I say like I'm with a client and you still sending me 5-10 messages back to back, nah.
Well, obviously, we support relationships here. It's great when a situationship just develops and you just end up in a relationship with the person, a long-term thing. But unfortunately, this is real life, and that's not the way it goes. So one person is starting to develop expectations. It might even be you. So how do you get out of the situation without creating a situation where you guys are enemies?
You just moonwalk up. You have to be honest with yourself, number one, and with the person. Like, hey, I know this is a situationship, but like I'm actually starting to feel you. Like, how you feel about that? Think about it. Let me know your thoughts. And if the person is like, nah, like I don't want to be in this situation no more, then you cut your losses. Then you just go, you bounce, because trying to stay in a situationship when you really want a relationship with that person is kind of whack.
At the end, you really have to treat a situationship like a relationship. If there's one party has feelings and they want to take it further, at that point it's a relationship. So you have to have either you have to have a come to Jesus conversation, and it just has to be a breakup. I mean, yeah. but it should be respectful. Don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Be respectful,
So any other best practices that you should use to in a situationship?
I would just like to reiterate honesty. I remember when I was dating multiple people, I say, hey, I'm dating multiple people. So if they ask me on a date and I'm like, I'm booked, I have another date. Or I say I have another date, I'll just be like, well, I'm busy that day, is another day, time that works for you. Or hey, this day and this time works, like, how does that work for your schedule? And oftentimes, like, when I'm honest, then the person is then honest with me, like, yeah, I'm seeing other people too. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. And that means that we can continue with this situationship without, it becoming, a relationship. And I don't have to feel obligated to call them the next day and thank them for taking me out to dinner and all that stuff. Like, it's too much. What about you?
I would say for me, my issue is just a logistical note. You have to, when you're having multiple situationships, you always got to be careful about the circles you're running in. I mean, obviously you can be in relationships with anyone you want, but you want to be smart if you want to live a low drama life. So that means if you like two girls in the same class in the same section, if you in college, but you probably shouldn't mess with both of them, because you don't want a situation because at the end of the day, people have feelings. They don't want to be embarrassed, even if they're in a situationship. They don't want to have their friends coming up and making a situation hot. They don't want somebody confronting them. You can't have people who are two girls at the same church, two girls in the same. You just gotta watch out. You gotta watch the degrees of separation between your situations.
I have a question.
What?
Why would you be embarrassed? I thought when you have a situationship that the general population isn't aware that there's a situationship. Like, so are you saying that situationships? Okay, but you be like, you tell all your homies, yeah, I have a situationship with XYZ. Like,
you may not need to tell all your homies, but there's somebody who knows. I mean, what if you got a roommate? They know. When you 22 years old and you in a college class, and if you want to live a low drama lifestyle, because women always, oh my goodness.
Women, thank you for watching this video. We hope you like it. If you do, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
See ya.